for that oversees our Dog Tag Fellowship Program. We on this call have Brandon Briscoe, who is our program coordinator for DC, and Geraldine Leonard, who is our who is our senior program manager for Chicago. So I will let them say good morning to you all.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Thank you all for joining us.
All right, so today is our 2024 winter informational session. Again, if we can wait to hold all questions until the end, that would be greatly appreciated. All right, so about dog tag. By show of hands, who has heard of dog tag or knows what dog tag is about? Okay, just about everyone. Okay, awesome. All right, so we are a living business school for transition and veterans with service-connected disabilities, and we also service military spouses and caregivers, which is a really unique program because we touch all people in your household that have had some type of transition with the military. Our goal is to empower fellows to rediscover your purpose. I truly believe that we all have more than one purpose in this lifetime. So we at Dog Tag would like to focus on the now. And so we want to find community through a business and entrepreneurship focused fellowship program. So today we will be doing a program overview. We will talk about eligibility requirements, our application process, and again, we will leave questions for the end. So our program overview, our Dog Tag program, fellowship program, consists of a 5-month fellowship program, which is from Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time. The program dates start January 26th through May 23rd, and we do allow for 1 week of spring break from March 11th through the 14th. With that being said, Dog Tag's program, we have 2 programs, which is one DC, the other Chicago. We do primarily have our programs on a virtual or operate our programs on a virtual platform. Again, it is a full commitment, same hours, just different timeframes. So with DC is from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Chicago from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Again, Monday through Thursdays. Our intentions are to have Fridays. You will be off on Fridays, so you can take care of any personal things that you need to take care of during that time. This is a program that is no cost to participate. However, we do provide a stipend of $1,500 to each participant per month. And so that is broken into 2, which means that you receive $750 on the 1st and $750 on the 15th of each month that you are in our fellowship program. Our program is extremely competitive. We only allow for 16 fellows per cohort. And that is 16 fellows in each cohort. So as you can imagine, that is 32 fellows for our whole fellowship program for the winter. We do have a lot of applicants. Last cycle, I believe we had almost close to 200 people that applied. So you can only imagine how competitive this program is. Again, we only allow for 2 cohorts per year, which means that we only have 4 groups per year as well. So our program requires for us to go over 5 elements. One of those elements would be our academic foundation. The second element would be experimental learning. The third would be learning labs. The fourth would be well-being reflections. And the last would be your capstone project. And we will dive a little deeper into this. So for DC, we actually go through Georgetown University, and our participants, or I should say fellows, receive a certificate in business. There are 6 classes that you are required to take. One of those classes are principles of management. The next one would be principles of marketing, business accounting, communications and organization, financial management, and the last one would be entrepreneurship. Chicago, very similar, but instead of taking 6 classes, you would take 7 classes, and you receive a certificate in business as well at Loyola University with Chicago. And Brandon?
Thank you, Alexia. Yes, so we're going to talk about the next element of our program, which is the experiential learning portion. Well, here at DogTag, we want to ensure that beyond the classroom that you're getting that real world experience and applying those concepts you're learning. So many opportunities you get to do that, to gain that hands-on experiences through marketing and product development, operations, development, and finance and strategy. These are portions of experiential learning that happen through our rotations period, which rotations provides fellows with the overall big picture of how we function here at DogTag, how you're learning those skills and applying those skills through our bakery and relating it to careers and also other forms of knowledge. Next slide. And then also another component we do provide here is learning labs. Throughout the 5-month fellowship program, we bring in external partners, approximately 150 of them, to provide more context about business, entrepreneurship, and just the life journey beyond being in the military. Through those partners, they cover various topics through the learning lab concepts, which can include skill building, which could be applicable to your business or just to your life journey. Wellness, we do emphasize wellness here to ensure that emotionally and mentally that you are prepped and also equipped with those skills as well. Entrepreneurial stories. A lot of the fellows that come into our program are highly interested in becoming entrepreneurs. So we want to bring in those audiences and those resources as well that can help enhance their experience. Corporate culture, learning about the business concepts and ideas, and other types of language that is important to thrive and be sustainable. And lastly, offsite experiences, which refer to the experiential learning opportunities to provide more real life experiences beyond just being in a class all day and learning those concepts. These are various topics that we cover here with Learning Labs to ensure that we're just making sure meeting all the needs and wants for the fellows here and that their time with DogTag is successful. Next slide. With Learning Labs as well, we also, like I said, focus on wellness. Throughout the 5-month program, we will challenge you emotionally to evaluate in your self-growth and your reflection during the time frame with us. The way we do that is through journal reflection. You'll be writing a lot to get those thoughts out and release that emotional tension and get that emotional wellness you're seeking. We also do mindfulness and meditation to ensure that you're opening your mind and also providing new energy. Physical activities such as yoga, bar, walks, and lastly, we offer a class component called Finding Your Voice, which is our theater-based class, which focuses on finding your voice, seeking who you are, and learning more about your story while you're here with DogTag. Next. Another component is Capstone. The big portion, which is to ensure entrepreneurship is emphasized here. You'll be submitting a capstone project throughout the 5 months you're here with DogTag. It covers, usually it's a huge business plan and proposal for how you want to open your business and provide us more context about that. So the overall model of your business, the business proposal, the board of directors, all those concepts. The market analysis, who you'll be selling your business to, how, when, why, those questions will be answered through the market analysis. The budget to ensure that you're actually being able to sustain your business idea financially. And lastly, the big portion, which is the pitch presentation, selling your business to not only DogTag, but to our partners to ensure that you're successful beyond these walls. Next slide. Next we have is alumni engagement. To ensure that you're transitioning your time here with DogTag smoothly, you will be engaging with the alumni throughout the duration of the program. With alumni engagement, you'll be connecting with fellows who went through the program, have been in your shoes, provide a sense of mentorship, and also opportunity for you to just gain more experience about DogTag and open those connections up. Ways we do that is through social happy hours and get-togethers. We also provide professional development workshops as well and other networking employment opportunities applicable to DogTag and the alumni engagement program. So just trust me, you're not alone through this process. We'll connect you with alumni and then help you engage with them to help you grow throughout the DogTag experience. Next slide. Next, we'll just talk about here is the eligibility requirements, which is basically how to apply to dog tag and how to get into the program. Of course, the audience, you have to be a post 9/11 veteran or a part of that community that would connect disability, military spouse, or caregiver. Of course, you must have different qualities we're looking for, such as the willingness to grow, open to entrepreneurship, or at least opening to purpose in civilian careers. You have to have the willingness to contribute and engage in personal and professional development. Along with that is the willingness to commit to the program. Like Alexis stated before, we do operate Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to be transparent, to ensure that you're able to fulfill this time frame. It's kind of like going back to school again, so making sure you have time for this throughout your everyday life. And lastly, it's just the ability to provide your own transportation and dog tag through dog tag's Georgetown area, and also for housing, just logistical stuff to ensure that you're taking care of yourself beyond dog tag that may come about, to make sure that you're maintaining your performance in the program. Next. Similar to Chicago, same requirements as well. Audience post 9/11 vet, similar qualities and traits that we look for. Just the time frame is different. It's Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And also you must be located in the Chicagoland area or adjacent. So mostly the Midwestern area that are in that time zone. They will be applying or eligible for our Chicago cohort. Next, Alexia. Also, we do require some supporting documents to go along with your application. First is the DD-214 form. This is to ensure that you are officially discharged from the service and all that. Other circumstances include making sure you remove all your sensitive information. And lastly, submitting copies of current orders if you're still currently active. We do require the VA documentation of disability rating as well, to ensure another substantial document to prove that you are officially discharged from the service. This is not applicable to spouses. They are exempt from this requirement. And last supporting document we do require is the letter of recommendation. This can come from anybody. This can come from an org member of your service, mentor, or volunteer. These are people who come back and be able to provide a sense of character about your qualities and just talk about those things as well. So please make sure that you find somebody that fits that and also able to talk about your experience as well. Next slide, Alexia. Along with the application process as well, there's some certain timelines here. First, the application deadline is September 22nd. So if you're working on your application, make sure you get that in time for us. Also, on top of that too, here's a certain time frame for the type of round interviews you'll be going through. You'll be going through 3 specific rounds. The first round is with dog tag alumni. You'll be actually engaging and asking questions with the alumni. They'll be getting to know you. Next, you have is dog tag program staff, including myself, Alexia, Geraldine, and many more, to get to know more about your character and much more. And lastly is senior leadership. So the higher ups, basically the exec members of dog tag, will get to know you a bit and make the final call if you will be admitted to our program or not. So that's really the timeline for the application process from this point forward. We're going to open up the floor. Are there any questions regarding the information we just went over just now? It's a quiet group.
I do have one question.
Yes.
For the letter of recommendation, is it only 1 or 2 or 3?
Just 1.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
We have a couple of questions in the chat. As far as the stipend, how does that work if you're still active duty? So you cannot be active duty if in our program, you must be officially discharged.
I do have one more question.
Yeah, sure.
For the cohort that's coming up, is this going to be live in person this time? Or I remember last time when I was trying to apply, it was going to be all virtual.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. It's going to be in a hybrid sense. So if I were to break it down in terms of like on the percentage scale, it will most likely be about 25% in person, 75% virtual still. We're still testing out to see how in-person programming works and see how we can still meet the needs, because we understand that not everyone wants to be behind the computer all day. So we're working on different methods and ways to make in-person program more of a factor we can meet. But I would say it's hybrid currently at the moment.
Cool, thank you.
Questions in the chat? Yes, no problem. Is when do interviews start? After the deadline, we'll have interviews start at the end of September, and they will go until the end of October. So that's just the timeline for the actual interview process and when you should hear back about a decision if you'll be advancing to later rounds. Yes, John, did you have a question?
Yeah, I've got these are probably more personal than group related. So the class prerequisites that you guys laid out, if you already took those through another program, are those waiverable?
No, unfortunately, they won't be waiverable. Unless they were through like the university specifically that you'll be taking them through. But unfortunately, they won't be waiverable for our program. In like a universal stance, if you were like a university, yes. But with dog tag, no, you'll have to go through the actual certificate program that they have to be able to qualify for the actual certificate itself.
So with that being said, I'm not trying to self-eliminate, but I want to make sure that I'm not putting in an application if it doesn't fit. So if you already have your MBA and you're already running a business that's got successful traction, is this a program that's still worthwhile to get into?
Yeah. For
Okay.
sure. We have people who still come in that have successful businesses or, are on a certain spectrum of the businesses, but they're just looking for some refinement and some more guidance. So there are people who come into our program with established businesses and occupations. We're just looking for more mentorship and more just resources and more of that matter too, or just more refinement, if that answers your question.
Yeah, and Brandon, I can piggyback on that answer as well. We at DogTech, we also like to focus on not just our veterans and spouses and caregivers business, but we also like to focus on your overall wellness. We do have a range of people that come to our program of all different backgrounds that, again, are looking to redefine their purpose. So your business, if you have an established business, that is great. However, we do have other parts of our programming that you may be able to benefit from as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Kyle?
Yes, ma'am. With how competitive it is to get into the program, what is it that you guys are looking for as far as, is it like a point system for certain things that you've done or that you're doing, or what is it that I guess would make me more competitive to be able to get into the program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are a couple of things. There is no point system though. So I will say we like for our applicants to be very transparent. We would like for you to be able to provide us with your undivided attention and time. This is a very, I will say, life-changing experience. And so we would like for everyone to be as committed as possible. We also would like for people to have an open mind while joining our program, because there are different elements to our programming where, say, for instance, you just want to focus on your business. This is not the place to only focus on a business. And so we are also looking for individuals that are looking to build a community as well. Denise, I see that you're off mute. Did you have a question?
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, do you have those alumni that probably, I guess, through looking through our application, who have already taken part in something that we want to do, so they can give real-time feedback about the particular business that I want to go into?
So let me reiterate your question to make sure I understand it. Are you asking, will you be like partnered with an alumni that has a similar business to you?
Pretty much so, yes.
Okay, so that depends on what your business would be, right? Because we have alumni that have all different creative businesses, and then we also have fellows that come to the table with new ideas as well, right? So I'll give you an example. We have someone right now that is a honeybee maker, and we don't have anyone from our mentorship or alumni that makes honey with bees. So she would be someone new that we would have to, partner them with. However, our mentorship and alumni goes based off personality as well as potential future growth.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate that. And you answered the question.
And yes, I see another hand up. I do not want to get your name wrong.
It's Narissa. Hi,
Narissa,
nice to
okay.
meet you.
Nice to
I
meet
was
you.
wondering, I know you have two other Zooms and then another Zoom and another in-person scheduled coming up. Will we have a chance to speak with alumni and ask questions and just chat about what their experience was like?
So that is a really good question. I'm not going to say no because it is possible, but is it scheduled for you all to talk to alumni? I will say if you get selected for the interview process, the alumni is very helpful with giving their feedback and letting you know the real insight of what you are signing yourself up for. So I would say that would be the best time for you to be able to chat with alumni in those one-on-ones.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And everyone gets a one-on-one as long as you submit those documentations that Brandon told you about.
And I'll just chime in, Narissa, I believe there is an alumni info session scheduled. I'll go ahead and see if I can find that information for you and share it in the chat.
Thank you.
I'm just answering some of the questions in the chat.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Any other questions on the floor that you want to vocalize? Going once? Going twice?
Brandon, I had one more question, kind of going off of some of those questions in the chat as far as being active duty. So I'll be, specifically for me, and I won't be signing up for this one. I'm just trying to get information for an upcoming one, but I'll be on terminal leave.
Okay.
And so being on terminal leave, I won't actually be retired until I think a month or 2 weeks into the winter program for next year. Is that still acceptable, or would I need to be officially retired?
So by that time you wouldn't qualify for the winter cohort because it will already be past the deadline. But by that point, if you wanted to apply for the next summer, the upcoming summer, you will definitely qualify. As long as you have the documentation to prove that you're on terminal leave and so forth, that's all that matters. Just any documentation that supports that, will accept that. So that should be okay. That should be okay.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And of course, everyone's situation is different. Some people will apply while they're still active and are waiting, and they'll be removed by the time the cohort starts. Everyone's situation is different, so any documentation you have to support that will take.
Michelle.
Hi. So I asked this in the chat too. I don't know if it got missed, but for applying, should you already have a business in mind that you're wanting to start or have started, or can you just want to learn more about being an entrepreneur with applying for the program?
Yes, so that's a great question. So not necessarily, you do not have to come to our program like 100% equipped or having a business. It's funny because when I started at Dog Tech, I thought that all fellows had to have a business in order to be in our program, or at least an idea, but this is a place for you to grow your ideas. However, it is mandatory that you do participate in our capstone, and our capstone curriculum, we do require for you to create a business. However, it is something that we understand takes patience, and you will have to develop over time. So you don't have to come here with all your eggs in one basket, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
We get people from all walks of life. If you're just looking for some redefined sense of purpose, that's a graduate outcome to us. It doesn't always have to be a successful business. It could be, we hope it is, but everyone has different outcomes. But if you're just being successful and finding yourself, that's all that matters to us.
Okay. Well, I do have one last question.
Sure.
You said that the program also go into mindfulness, and readiness and stuff like that. Is that more like a personal mindfulness type program, or is it more like of a group cookie cutter type that that we have out there?
Hey, Lex, you want to go to more about the wellness component, about weekly wellness and those things we do?
Mhm.
Yeah, I may have missed the question. So if you could repeat that for me, that would be great.
Yes, I know that the program covered part of, mindfulness and wellness. Is that more of a personal wellness for each individual separately based on needs, or is it more of a group wellness type?
Okay, awesome. I understand what you're saying. So it would be for the group. The wellness is not just for, of course, your own self-fulfillment. It is a sense to help build your community as well. It's an all hands on program and all hands in program. And so some of the things, of course, some people may get more out of it if you're more so into yoga, and we have a yoga exercise that may be something that is more geared towards you and you enjoy it. But say if we have a community building exercise where, and I'm just using this as an example, but strategy is your thing, and we're doing a scavenger hunt. That is something that you may be really good at. However, it is to build community as well as focus on your own personal needs with wellness. And then we're open. Dog Tag, we're extremely innovative as well. So if you have ideas for wellness or even our community building curriculum, we're always open to that as well.
I was also
Perfect,
going
thank
to
you.
add to that we're also understand we're not doctors. We also understand that our fellows and our audience that we work for has things they endure and experience that is beyond our acumen and knowledge. So we have great partnership with like Wounded Warrior Project that we refer our fellows to if they have mental, emotional, or physical needs that are beyond
Yeah.
us that they can support us with too. And we have a great partnership with them. And when the fellows arrive, we introduce them to Wounded Warrior Project. So if they ever have these or in a moment of crisis emotionally, physically, or mentally, they can rely on Wounded Warrior Project as well to assist them as well through Dog Tag.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you.
Denise, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, ma'am. So I wanted to know, I've heard cohort several times. I don't remember according to Dog Tags what that really means. And you said something that, well, my question is, when will I know if my application has been accepted? So that's my question.
Yes, so cohort means that we have two cohorts, right? So basically, if you think of like a classroom setting, Geraldine oversees one and I oversee one as well. So in this cohort classroom setting, we only allow for 16 fellows in each class, okay? So each cohort only allows for 16 fellows. Once you submit your application, we do review it in real time. So you should be hearing back from us very quickly. However, just give us some grace. Our application season can get very heavy. We do see an influx in numbers towards the end of our application session. So you should receive something. And if we do not have proper documentation from you and you did submit an application, we will let you know as soon as possible.
And when does that period end for, I know the class starts in January, so when would all of your documents need to be in by what, no later than what time?
September 22nd.
Okay, thank you.
It's not like rolling admissions. Like if you apply during our application, you won't get a decision back. It's not like you'll get a decision back after you apply, like 3 weeks later. You'll get a decision back around the same time as everyone else.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And please keep in mind, this session was recorded and we will be posting it on our social media as well as our website for you all to be able to review later on if you want to go back. And Geraldine, thank you so much for that. She posted the alumni Q&A in the chat.
That's more opportunity to showcase.
One more question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Since you mentioned social media, is it a requirement to have a social media platform?
No.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
When will you hear back from the interviews? So for the interviews, usually everyone receives an admissions decision I would say roughly a week around, I would say around before the holidays, right, Alexia? Right before the holidays, right?
Right, so we start classes in January 26th. I would say before the holiday season. And when I say that, I mean before like Christmas, you will know. And we typically try to stop doing our interviews right before Thanksgiving. So we should start making decisions. The faster we know who we would like to select for the program, it is easier for us to start sending over those requests. I don't know if I froze or if someone else froze.
Rich, you have a question?
I do. Thank you. Good morning. I was curious with the switch to kind of a hybrid method. I live in Minnesota, so it's a little bit further than a day commute to Chicago. Are there any housing considerations or options, or what is any thoughts on taking care of people if we do the hybrid?
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
did you want to answer that, Brandon?
Yeah, I was gonna say for sure. One of the main things that we're doing, especially, is that we have a great partnership with Hero Miles. So Hero Miles helps our military audiences get affordable flights and so forth, and get rewards and whatnot for utilizing those flights too. So we do utilize through that. We also help with the lodging as well to help you find affordable lodging. The only thing that you'll be responsible for is like getting to and from the actual site of dog tag and whatnot of that matter. But you'll have a place we'll help cover the actual travel and also the lodging specifically.
And
Great.
just for the record as well, Rich, we operate majorly on a virtual platform. So the in-person time that you will be spending will be planned well ahead. It will not ever be at this particular point longer than 4 days. So you will be planning to stay with us for 4 days, and then you will be going back to our virtual platform. And thus far, this particular cohort, we are only allowing to do having 2 in-person programming opportunities as well. So again, throughout the 5 months, there are only 2 weeks that the fellows have to be in person, and we do or we will let you know those dates very well in advance so you can plan accordingly.
No, it sounds great. I was looking at the hybrid option. Sounds exciting. I was just wanting to understand what kind of considerations to think about as you know, get application prep. So thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll help you with that entire process. So for sure. Any other questions?
I had one, Brandon. If
Yes.
you apply for a cohort and are not selected, does that preclude you from applying again in the future?
No, feel free to reapply. We've had fellows that have actually made it into our cohort that have applied in the past and previous cohorts, and so there's no cap on how many times you apply. We don't exclude you from reapplying or anything of that matter. You're welcome to continue applying until you get that admissions decision. Any other questions? That was a great question. Alexia, Jaron, I don't think we have any final questions.
Well, everyone, we thank you so much for joining our info session webinar this afternoon or early this morning, depending on where you are. Again, if you have any questions, I will leave my information, and along with the staff, we'll leave our information in the chat for you. And please feel free to review the recording as well as reach out to us. Thank you so much.
Pleasure meeting everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Brennan, can you also add the fellowship email in the
Yeah,
chat?
sure.
Thank you. I know some people are probably recording the email addresses in the chat right now.
Yeah, I figured. Just get the last bit.
Jerlyn, did you want to stop the recording?